Hi, my name is Lynn Sharif, and in the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you the what, the why, and how to effectively network. But before I get started, I have a confession to make. I have been in the business arena for over 20 years, and I have amassed hundreds, if not thousands, of business cards. I have them in leather folders. When I get overwhelmed, I have them in rubber bands, and then I got high tech and I started scanning them. Am I by myself? Not to suggest that having business cards is a bad thing, but I'm going to give you a tool later that will add another dimension to what you typically do with them. What I'd like to leave you with when we're done are some great tips to help you confidently network, but more importantly, build long-term relationships with your business contacts. To learn what networking is, let's discuss what it is not. It is not just meeting people at an event. And while you shake hands and exchange business cards, that's not all there is. How many of us have gotten into conversations and suddenly find yourself roped into a product demonstration before you could blink? No one likes the hard sell. It takes me back to an event I attended a few years ago. I saw a young man I'd volunteered with in the past, and as he was catching me up on what he was doing, it was really interesting for about 90 seconds. But as the minutes started adding up and he is not taking a breath, my eyes are darting from side to side trying to find an escape. Networking is not about you giving an exhaustive, detailed account of you or your business. Remember that it's a dialogue, not a monologue. And while network is the art and skill, much like roller skating or swimming, of developing mutually beneficial relationships, it is a skill. You can work to get it better. And the great news is that you don't have to wait until the next business function. You can make connections at the grocery store, at Home Depot. You're always networking. So the way things used to be done, we're going to call it old school, collecting business cards but never revisiting them. I'm guilty of that. You can't have a meaningful business relationship with someone that you haven't never connected with after the first time. And don't make the mistake of the guy I spoke of earlier. Don't data dump. Even though everyone in the room may end up with your card, I'm going to teach you how to be strategic. The new school method has you preparing yourself ahead of time. In preparing yourself, I want you to really assess your personal network. Divide that network into 4 groups of people that you need to proactively build business relationships with. Those inside your organization critical for your success, those outside the organization that you need to get your job done, people who are important to the success of your career, and lastly, the people with whom you need to repair a relationship. Next, be likable, interested in others, and interesting. There's a great book by Tim Sanders called The L Factor, or The Likability Factor. He talks about how to make yourself more likable because, let's face it, people like dealing with people they like. I'm not also suggesting that every interaction you should have something to give away, but you should not focus on high-priced gifts, but where appropriate, send an article that might be of interest to that person. And also, lastly, put in the dates for when you're going to follow up with those contacts. The key to effective networking is this: go into it with your hands open. Don't wait until you need something to connect with people. Ask yourself these questions before entering into networking conversations. All of these questions are centered on what you can do for others. If and when you do need something, you've already created the relationship that will allow others to do for you with no hesitation. One skill you can begin practicing now is your 30-second elevator speech. The idea behind that is, what would you say to the CEO of your company or some other important person if you were to find yourself with him or her in an elevator? You should learn how to communicate who you are, what you do, how you add value, and what your results are. So here's how your 30-second elevator speech might sound. I'm Lynn Sharif. I'm gifted at collaborating with individuals and influence management. I get people to play nice in the sandbox. My expertise is the development of human capital. More specifically, I inspire people to become their best selves. As a result, I've been called on and have successfully led teams in both the corporate and nonprofit arenas. One last thing I want to leave you with is how to maximize the effectiveness of your business cards. After you've gotten the card, draw 2 lines to create 4 boxes on the back of the card. Right after you leave the event, put memory joggers in the upper left hand of the card. For example, the lady with the red glasses. Next to it, put the event information, where you met them. In the notes section, capture something noteworthy about your interaction. avid horse lover, or big fan of NASCAR. And then last, put something that will be an action item for you to follow up on. So perhaps to send them the Forbes article about investing. That way, all of your cards will remind you of what the interaction was, thereby making them more valuable than just sitting in a folder. So to recap, remember that you're always networking. Be interesting and interested in others. Practice and perfect your 30-second elevator speech. Assess and develop a plan for networking success. So thanks for your time today. Go forth and network.